So an object is created on the basis of something called a class. Anytime you hear the word class in object-oriented programming, you should think of a blueprint, because that's all a class is. A blueprint is not the thing. A blueprint tells us how to build a thing. So if I have a blueprint for a house that I want to build, you can't move into the blueprint. You can't live in the blueprint. You can't open the front door or do anything to it. What you can do with a blueprint is create houses or a whole neighborhood of houses that all follow that plan. So if I create a neighborhood full of houses and they all follow that same blueprint, they're all going to have the same layout. They're all going to have the same number of doors and windows and the same kind of places. If you walk into one, and maybe have you ever been house shopping in a new neighborhood where they have model homes? So you walk into the model home, and basically you walk through the model home, and if you decide, hey, yeah, I like that, I'm going to buy that one, I want one of these. What you can count on is like 6 or 8 months down the road, you're going to walk into your new house and it will have the exact same layout with the exact same bedrooms and the exact same places as that model house, right? Because that's what it is. So they're made using the same blueprint. And a class is just a blueprint. So it's defining a model of something, but it's just a blueprint for something we want to create. Two big things that classes contain. They contain actions, things that class can do, and data values, which is data that is contained inside that class. It's called a property. So methods and properties outside of a class, we've been calling those functions and variables. But when they belong to a class, they're called methods and properties. When we use a class to create something, it's called an instance or an object, which is where we get the name object-oriented programming. An instance is like one of the houses in the neighborhood that's created from the blueprint. So let's talk about properties. Let's say that I have a car class. Okay, so I'm creating a blueprint for a car. The way I do that is I start out with the word class. Okay, it tells Python that I'm declaring a class or I'm creating a blueprint for something. And that class is called CL_car. That way I can remember that it's a class for a car. I have a colon, the code underneath it is indented. We should all be pretty used to that model of things by now. The colon, the indentation, what it means, that sort of thing. Inside that class, I have a property called int wheels. And the int wheels, it tells me how many wheels my car has. So when I create an instance of that class, of the car class, I might call it my car. I can call it whatever I want. It's like a variable name, right? But instead of it being a string or an integer or something, it is a object that is based on this class. Okay? So when I create my car, it's like using that blueprint to build one house in the neighborhood. Now I can build 17 houses in the neighborhood, and all of them are going to be very similar. Are they identical? Not necessarily. They could be identical, but one could be a blue house, another could be a yellow house, another could be a white house. So the properties of those houses can be changed on a per instance basis. They all have a property called color. What color is that house? But each house could have a different color if I want to. So just like that, my car, when I create it, will have 4 wheels. If I want to, though, I can change the number of wheels like this. I can also print out that property or access that property by saying my car, which is the object name, dot int wheels. So that will tell me how many wheels are on this car. If I create a my car 2, it will have its own number of wheels. So a property is specific to the object or the instance of that class. Are we following so far? Feels a little weird, probably, but that's okay. And to change that property, I can, now this is not what we want to be doing. I'm going to talk to you about this later. But right now, we'll just say we can change that property directly by accessing it like this. mycar.intWheels equals 6. Now, it will change only the number of wheels for my car. Let's dig